What if I told you that civilization, the laws, the morality, the polite society you live in every day, is nothing more than a fragile mask? A mask that under the right pressure doesn't just crack, it completely dissolves. We like to believe that humans are inherently good. We like to think that if we stripped away the corruption of modern society and left a group of innocent children on a paradise island, they would build a utopia. But in 1954, a school teacher named William Golding smashed that fantasy to pieces. He wrote a book that was rejected by 21 publishers before finally seeing the light of day. It wasn't just an adventure story, it was a warning. Golding had just returned from the horrors of World War II, where he saw the atrocities of his fellow man firsthand. He realized something terrifying. The monsters aren't hiding under our beds. They are hiding inside of us. Today, we are dissecting Lord of the Flies. Not just to recap a book you might have skimmed in high school, but to uncover the dark philosophy it hides about human nature, the fragility of order, and the beast that is waiting to wake up in all of us. To understand the nightmare, we have to understand the dream. Before Golding, there was a popular genre of island adventure stories. The most famous was a book called The Coral Island. In that book, English boys get shipwrecked, and because they are proper British boys, they build a perfect civilized society, convert the natives, and live happily ever after. Golding looked at that and said, no. He wrote Lord of the Flies as a direct satire, a dark mirror. He even used the same names for the main characters, Ralph and Jack. But instead of building a paradise, Golding's boys descend into absolute hell. The premise is simple. A plane evacuating a group of British schoolboys during a fictional nuclear war is shot down. No adults survive, just a group of kids aged 6 to 12, alone on an island with fresh water, fruit, and no rules. It starts with hope. But as we're about to see, the scary part isn't that they fail to build a society. The scary part is how quickly they succeed in building a nightmare. At first, the boys try to copy the world they came from. They elect a leader, Ralph. Ralph is the golden boy. He represents democracy, order, and the civilized instinct to protect the weak. His primary tool is the conch shell. This isn't just a shell, it's a vessel of political legitimacy. It grants the right to speak. It symbolizes the rule of law. As long as the conch holds power, the boys have a democracy. Then you have Piggy. Piggy is physically weak. He has asthma, he's overweight, but he holds the most powerful object on the island, his glasses. The glasses represent science, technology, and intellect. They are the only way the boys can create fire, which they need for rescue and survival. So Fabo, we have the setup. Ralph has the authority, the conch, and Piggy has the technology, the glasses. It looks like a functioning society. Ralph insists on keeping a signal fire lit to attract passing ships. He is focused on the future, on rescue, on long-term gratification. But there is a rival force on the island. Enter Jack. Jack leads the choir. He's arrogant, aggressive, and obsessed with power. If Ralph is the prime minister, Jack is the dictator in waiting. When he loses the vote for chief, he slams his knife into a tree. He takes control of the hunters. And here is where Golding drives his first philosophical stake into the ground. Ralph offers work, building shelters, watching the fire. Jack offers fun, hunting, meat, play. In the battle between the hard work of civilization and the instant gratification of savagery, which one do you think wins? Civilization is fragile. But what actually breaks it? It's not just Jack's ambition, it's fear. The younger boys, the little uns, start having nightmares. They talk about a beastie, a snake thing in the woods. Now, logically, We know there are no monsters on the island. But fear doesn't care about logic. Fear is the most powerful political tool there is. Ralph tries to fight the fear with reason. He holds assemblies. He says, "There is no beast." But Jack uses the fear. He says, "If there is a beast, my hunters will kill it." This is a critical shift. Ralph offers facts. Jack offers protection. When people are afraid, they stop caring about the conch and the rules. They want the man with the spear. And then, the ultimate irony happens. A dead paratrooper from the war going on in the outside world crashes onto the island. In the dark, the boys see this silhouette bowing and moving in the wind. They think this is the beast. The irony is crushing. The beast they fear is actually a soldier, a symbol of the adult world's own savagery. The adults are killing each other with nuclear weapons while the boys play at war on the island. The beast isn't a monster, it's man. Pause for a second. Why does a story about 1950s British schoolboys matter to you right now? Because Golding isn't writing about them. He's writing about us. He's suggesting that our laws, our police, our schools, they aren't the natural state of humanity. They are a cage we built to keep our inner nature in check. And the moment that cage opens, we don't become free, we become Jack. There is one character who understands this truth. Simon. Simon is the mystic, the Christ figure of the story. While the others fight, Simon wanders into the forest. He finds the gruesome result of Jack's hunting, a severed pig's head impaled on a stick, covered in flies. The Lord of the Flies. In a terrifying hallucination, the head speaks to him. It says, "Fancy thinking the beast was something you could hunt and kill. I'm part of you? Close, close, close." Simon realizes the truth. The beast isn't the dead paratrooper. The beast is the evil inside the boys themselves. He rushes down the mountain to tell them. He wants to liberate them from their fear. But he arrives at the wrong moment. Jack is holding a feast. The boys are in a frenzy, dancing, chanting, "Kill the beast, cut his throat, spill his blood." They don't see Simon. They see the beast. In a mob mania, they attack him. They kill the only person who knew the truth. Even Ralph and Piggy, the good ones, get caught up in the violence. This is the death of spirituality and truth. Now, all that's left is power. With Simon dead, the gloves come off. Jack realizes he doesn't need the conch. He needs the fire. But he doesn't know how to make it. So he raids Ralph's camp and steals Piggy's glasses. This is a massive symbolic moment. The savage dictator, Jack, has seized the power of technology, the glasses, from the intellectuals. Ralph and Piggy are left powerless. Desperate, they go to Jack's stronghold, Castle Rock, to demand the glasses back. Ralph tries to appeal to their sense of justice. He holds up the conch one last time. But words don't matter anymore. Roger, Jack's brutal enforcer, releases a giant boulder. It strikes Piggy. Piggy falls to his death. The conch shell is shattered into 1,000 white fragments. It's over. The conch, law, is gone. Piggy, reason, is dead. Simon, morality, is dead. The only thing left is Ralph, alone, hunted by a pack of boys who have painted their faces to hide their humanity. They set the entire island on fire to smoke Ralph out. The very fire they once used to signal for rescue is now being used as a weapon of destruction. Ralph runs for his life. He collapses on the beach, waiting for the spear to strike. But it never comes. He looks up and sees a naval officer. The fire intended to kill Ralph actually signaled a passing ship. The officer looks at these savage, painted children and jokes, fun and games. He sees them as kids playing war. He doesn't realize they were moments away from ripping Ralph apart. The boys begin to cry, not tears of joy, but tears of grief. As Golding writes, Ralph wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart, and the fall through the air of the true, wise friend called Piggy. But here is the final, philosophical punch to the gut. The officer is there to rescue them. But who is he? He is a soldier in a warship. He is taking them off a small island of war and bringing them back to a big world of war. The boys have been rescued from their savagery, but the civilized world they are returning to is just as violent. The only difference is that the adults wear uniforms instead of face paint. Lord of the Flies argues that civilization is not a biological reality. It is a learned behavior. It is a fragile veneer that covers our primal instincts. When we remove the consequences, when we remove the grown-ups, we don't become angels. We revert to the tribe. We hunt. We kill. We follow the strongest leader, not the smartest one. Golding's message is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. He forces us to look in the mirror and ask, if you were on that island, if you were hungry, afraid, and given a mask to hide your face, would you have stood with Ralph? Or would you have joined the dance? If you enjoyed this analysis, you might want to check out this video here on 1984 and how it predicts our current reality. Thanks for watching.